Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Gabby and welcome. If you have never been here before, never watched any of my videos, have no idea what I do here on my channel, I cover true crime cases, and all the cases that I cover are a little bit older. They're all basically 20 years or older. So if that's something that you might be interested in, maybe go down below, click that subscribe button, and also make sure to turn on the post notifications to be notified every time that I upload. By the title of today's video, you can tell that we're going to be diving back into the case of Princess Doe. I originally covered the case of Princess Doe on December 30th of 2020. It was my last video of that year, and it was a case that I really dove deep into, and I knew with the advancements in technology that the chances of her being identified were very high. I believed it was just a matter of time, so when I woke up to the news that she had been identified, it made me so happy. I literally remember being at my mom's house and I told her about it, and I teared up a little bit just looking at a picture of what she looked like while she was alive. If you did not see my original video on the case, or you don't know anything about this case, I recommend you watch that video before watching this video. So pause, go watch that. It will be in the description of this video, and then come back. For those of you who did watch that video or are a bit familiar with the case in general, I'm going to go over some of the main details and give you all a little bit of a mental refresher. The lifeless body of a teenage girl was found in Cedar Ridge Cemetery in Blairstown, New Jersey on the date of July 15th, 1982 by a cemetery maintenance worker. At first, they thought she could have been deceased a couple of weeks, but later it seemed she had only been dead a few days. Her face was nearly unrecognizable. Her body had begun the process of decomposition, but that is not what caused it to be this way. It was the fact that this poor girl had been beaten in the face by a blunt object. Her cause of death was beating. She had brunette shoulder-length hair. As for her eye color, it was unknown due to the condition her poor face was in. She weighed about 110 pounds and stood at about 5 feet 2 inches tall. Both of her ears were pierced, and her left ear was pierced twice. She had the nails on her right hand painted red, but only on the right hand. She was wearing a red short-sleeved shirt. Her peasant skirt was found laying on top of the lower half of her body. The skirt had peacocks on it. A very unique skirt. She had on no shoes, socks, bra, or underwear. Tangled in her hair was a gold cross necklace. She had no known scars, tattoos, or birthmarks on her body. Due to her decomposition, they could not tell if she had been raped. She did have wounds on her arms and hands, though. This girl, she put up a fight. A girl guessed to be between the ages of 14 to 18. Authorities really put in a lot of work to try to identify her, from questioning people in the area to see if they knew her or saw her at any time before her murder, to doing multiple composite sketches and artist renderings of her through the years, to trying to track down where her clothing came from, to doing isotope testing to see locations around the country she may have traveled through or came from. Everything, though, always seemed to hit a dead end. They would name this Jane Doe Princess Doe and lay her to rest in the same cemetery she was found in. Her headstone read, "Princess Doe, missing from home, dead among strangers, remembered by all, born, ? Found July 15th, 1982. According to the New York Times, Princess Doe became the first person entered into the FBI's new missing persons database. In my original video, there had been people I mentioned that they thought she could have been, one of those being Diane Dye, who I later did an entire video on, and there were a few theories I went over as well. Now, one of the things I mentioned in my original video would turn out to be very important information and result in the current investigation going on now in regards to this case. In June of 1998, a woman named Donna Kinlaw was arrested for attempting to commit welfare fraud by forging a name. The name that she forged came from a woman named Elena, who was a native of Long Island, New York. Police located this woman, this Elena, and questioned her about Donna Kinlaw and also Donna's husband, Arthur Kinlaw. Elena had a lot to say about them. She told them that the Kinlaws ran a ring consisting of girls and young women who sold sex for money. One of the girls in this ring was a girl that Elena said she knew as Linda. Elena told police that Arthur and Donna drugged, strangled, and beat Linda. Arthur had supposedly met this Linda years before at a reggae bar. Elena stated that Arthur took Linda's life because she wanted to leave his ring. He didn't like that too much. He supposedly beat her with an aluminum baseball bat, wrapped her in a shower curtain, and dumped her in the East River. Her body had washed up only weeks later. The name Linda, it was a false name though, and she is still unidentified to this day. Arthur would admit to the murder in the year 2000 while in court. Arthur was faced with a death sentence because of this, and Donna, she was afraid for her future as well, so she told police everything she could remember. Donna told police that her husband had also killed other girls as well, and one of those being Princess Doe. Donna said that in July of 1982, Arthur came home with a teenage girl. This girl looked around 18 years old. She said that they spent time with her. She would frequent the home. Then one night, he left home with her, and when he returned, she wasn't with him. After he came back without her, he cleaned his car up and himself, even getting rid of the clothing he was wearing. Since girls and young women were in and out of their home all the time, Donna said she didn't think too much of this. She stated though that weeks later, during an argument that she had with Arthur, he admitted to killing the teenager and basically said that Donna would end up just like her. This is the sketch done based off of Donna's description of the girl. Well, Arthur, he would admit to this murder as well, but he said that Donna had actually been in the cemetery with him the night that he killed her. Arthur would be convicted on 2 counts of second-degree murder. He received 20 years to life. Donna was convicted of manslaughter and was let out in the year 2003. Neither of them, though, were convicted in relation to Princess Doe's case, because although he claimed responsibility for her murder, there was no physical proof to tie him to it. The man on her case, Detective Lieutenant Stephen Spears, doubted his involvement mostly because Arthur could not give them what the Doe's name actually was, or any name at all, even a false one she may have used while she was there. Stephen Spears was quoted saying, "Let's put it this way, I can't use the word confession. He made some admissions. I'll put it in these terms. He claimed responsibility for her death, but I have no physical evidence to confirm that. And without the identity of Princess Doe, I have no way of connecting the dots, so to speak, putting her in a place where he could have been or would have been at the same time. That's the unfortunate thing right now. The key thing is to identify her. If we could identify her, then I can try to verify the information Arthur Kinlaw provided." If you're wondering about the other individuals that were also victims of Arthur's, besides allegedly Linda and allegedly Princess Doe, there was a woman Donna also told about to authorities. This woman was said to be about 300 pounds. She was disabled. She was either Black or Hispanic, and she was in her 20s or 30s. Donna didn't really know her age. Donna said that in 1983, this woman was staying with them and helping them pay bills. One day, Arthur beat the woman to death, dragged her out into the backyard, buried her in a grave that he dug, and he poured concrete over her, and that would later turn into their patio. Yes, the patio of the home would later be dug up, and they did find the woman's remains. She too is still unidentified. There was also another woman that Donna told authorities about that Arthur had killed, and this woman's name is Christine. Donna told authorities all about Arthur's involvement in her murder. Christine was a Bayshore woman who was heavily addicted to drugs and ended up selling sex for money to afford her addiction. Donna said that Arthur brought her into their home one day in September of 1982. He had sex with her and then killed her because she wouldn't join his ring and work under him. Let's go back to Princess Doe's case in general though, and then we'll come back to the Kinlaw's involvement in a few. Her remains were first exhumed in the year 1999 so that samples could be collected for DNA testing, which was extracted from her femur. Then in the year 2007, the Warren County Prosecutor's Office submitted her femur bone and humerus bone to the University of North Texas Center for Human Identification for DNA testing. In May of 2021, investigators in today's time working on her case were notified by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about obtaining DNA markers from Princess Doe's body. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children were collaborating with Astria Forensics. According to their website, Astria uses proprietary methods for improving the recovery of DNA data from the most degraded samples. On June 18th of 2021, investigators received the news that Astria Forensics was all on board to extract DNA from Princess Doe and build a DNA profile for her. The Astria Forensics lab studied DNA from her tooth and eyelash. On February 10th of this year, Astria notified investigators about the success of creating that DNA profile. From there, they consulted genealogists from Innovative Forensics Investigations. The CEO and founder of Innovative Forensics Investigations, her name is Jennifer Moore, agreed to do unlimited genealogy absolutely free of charge. If you are unfamiliar with what genetic genealogy is, some people are, it is the use of genealogical DNA tests, that is DNA profiling and DNA testing in combination with traditional genealogical methods to infer genetic relationships between individuals. During that same month, on February 22nd, investigators were notified that there was a possible match for Princess Doe. Investigators went to West Babylon, New York, and met with a man believed to be Princess Doe's brother. They spoke to him, and he informed them that he was missing a sister, and this sister disappeared back in the year of 1982. They got DNA from this man's sister, believed to also be Princess Doe's sister, and went back to test directly against Princess Doe's DNA. A DNA test was conducted, and it was a match. On April 29th of 2022, Princess Doe was officially identified, and on July 15th, just last month, the 40th anniversary of the day that she was found, they made the announcement to the public during a press conference early that day. Princess Doe was identified as 17-year-old Dawn Rita Olanick of Long Island, New York. She was born on August 5th of the year 1964 and grew up in West Babylon, New York. Information currently is very limited when it comes to her backstory, but her brother has released what he feels is necessary to know regarding his sister, and of course we have to respect the family's decision on that. She had been attending Connecticut High School. She had a brother, sister, and her parents were divorced. At the time of her disappearance, she had been living with her mother and sister. Her reasonings for leaving the home is currently unknown. Some sources say that she was asked to leave, and some sources say that she decided to leave on her own. She had never been seen or heard from again. At the press conference, her family members sat there and they had pictures of her on their lapels. Her cousin, who was only 13 at the time that she went missing, stated during the press conference, "We miss her dearly. On behalf of the family, we'd really like to thank Blairstown Police Department, New Jersey State Troopers, Warren County, and Union County, and for their unrelenting time they put into this cold case." Her cousin had actually worked in law enforcement for quite a while, so he knew the effort that they put in to help identify her. Now, County Prosecutor James Pfeiffer of Warren, New Jersey, stated that Arthur Kinlaw had wrote multiple letters to the prosecutor's office starting back in 2005, and later that same year admitted in person to murdering her. They, at that time though, just didn't have enough information or evidence to charge him. Now they do. All since discovering her identity and discovering more about his connection to her. As a result of the further investigation, witness statements, and his confession of the murder, he has been charged. During the press conference announcing Dawn's identification, it was stated that charges had officially been brought against Arthur Kinlaw in relation to her murder. He was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. Arthur Kinlaw, now 68 years old, is currently imprisoned at the Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York. He has a very extensive criminal record dating all the way back to the year of 1971. This record included, of course, murder, but also assault, robbery, illegal possession of weapons, forgery, fraud, perjury, conspiracy, and criminal mischief. A potential motive was suggested for the murder. Originally, Donna Kinlaw kind of acted like Princess Doe had been a part of their sex ring, but it more is believed that Arthur was trying to bring her into the ring and that Dawn refused, and because of that, he killed her. Arthur's sex ring was located in the Bronx, and Dawn, she was from Long Island. What was the connection to the small town of Blairstown in New Jersey, you may be wondering. Well, it is not believed either of them had a connection to the town, that it was a town picked at random to kill her and dispose of her remains in, hoping that no one there, of course, knew her and would be able to identify her. Retired Police Lieutenant Eric Kranz, who was one of the first people there to see her body after it was discovered, and the man who named her Princess Doe, praised the ones involved in identifying her and was so thrilled to find out that she finally had her name back. Right now, we just have to kind of wait and see about any updates and how the charges against Arthur Kinlaw pan out. I hope with everything in me that a trial takes place soon and justice is served in Dawn's case. Obviously, with an ongoing investigation, not everything is released to the public, so I'm sure there is a lot we don't know. The details of what Arthur told authorities about his involvement in Dawn's murder has not really been released to the public. For instance, if you look at the main sighting of her days before her body was found, which was by a woman and her daughter who saw Dawn supposedly buying cigarettes at the A&P across from the cemetery on July 13th, you know, did Arthur take her to this area and they spent some time there, she bought cigarettes, and then he killed her later on? If this woman and her daughter had actually seen her at A&P, how does this A&P trip fit into what happened that day? That's one question that I personally have, and also how he came across Dawn in the first place, how he met her. That's all information we don't know right now. It is just, and I sound like a broken record because I always say this, but it's incredible all that genetic genealogy has done for Doe cases, because if you remember my original video, this was a girl who they figured for a few reasons had spent time in Long Island. Remember that her clothing was tracked back to coming from a closed down store in Long Island. Even with that guess, they still were not able to discover her identity until this sort of testing was conducted. Dawn, when she was still known as Princess Doe, was really adopted by the town of Blairstown. So many locals and law enforcement cared deeply for her. Her case had been featured on a few television programs, and after that, people from all over developed sympathy for her and traveled from all over the country to visit her grave. Her loved ones are really appreciative of all the people out there who tried to help in any way they could or cared in any way at all. Yes, they do have their prime suspect and the man being charged for her murder, but still, anyone who has any information at all regarding the murder, you are urged to contact the Warren County Prosecutor's Office. Their crime tip hotline is 908-475-6643, or you can call toll-free at 866-942-6467. This was a girl who should have never lost her life, and she lost her life in such a horrific manner. And she was so young. She was only 17 years old, very soon going to be 18 years old. She had her entire life ahead of her. I'm just so happy that she's finally been identified, and I've been wanting to do this video since it was first released to the public, but I usually try to give it like a little bit of a waiting period because I don't want to come out immediately with the video, because of course the family is going through their grieving process. And of course the grieving process, it never truly ends, especially when you lose somebody in this way and you didn't know for so many years what had happened to them. I will have all of my sources linked down below in the description of this video if you want to read any of the news articles yourself. And remember, if you want to help a cold case or help identify a Jane or John Doe, you can go to DNAsolves.com. They always have new cases up all the time that you can donate to. Most of the time they're wanting funding to go through with the process of genetic genealogy to help identify different victims. With all of that being said, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one.